Welcome to Tellypathic, your visit to the world of episodic telly with a strong backbone of Star Trek. We're your two hosts who are mad about telly, Mark and Gary. Hi, Gary.
Hey, Mark. How's it going, man?
Not bad. I nearly flubbed that.
Nailed it. You nailed it.
Mostly. I nearly went off to else here. Learning still, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this was your pick, and you picked a good one, didn't you?
I did. It was a crowd pleaser.
Yeah. So you picked again from season 2, but earlier in the season. So it's original series, season 2, Mirror Mirror. By any other name was later in season 2, but this was earlier. However, before we get into that, I've just got to mention I've been watching a bit more Star Trek movies.
Nice.
I've been working through a few, but not all of them. I've just been kind of skipping about a bit, you know.
Okay.
For some reason, I don't know why I did this, but I watched Star Trek Generations.
Okay.
Yeah, an interesting one. Properly hits the skids as soon as Shatner turns up in the second half. He's at the beginning, and that's fine.
I love the opening. I love the opening. Yeah.
And there's some good stuff in this, mostly around Data dealing with his emotion chip. There's a bit of that, which is kind of fun. There's some great stuff with Guinan talking about her people. Really like that bit. But as soon as old Stuart falls into the Nexus and then realizes this perfect life isn't real, and then he has to go find Shatner, and you just know Shatner said, "I'll be on it as long as I can cook and ride horses." Right?
And like you say, it feels like Shatner's fantasy, not Captain Kirk's fantasy. Yeah,
it does. And essentially, two old dudes trying to save the universe from another old dude is kind of the vibe. It does hit the skids quite badly in places.
And it's a shame, right? Because that's Endgame for Kirk. That is canonically the death of Kirk. Canonically, which is brutal.
Yeah,
it's such a crap ending.
Yeah. Well, apparently Shatner wanted to joke at the end, didn't he? He says this is the first time the bridge has been on the captain. That was his final death words. That's what Shatner wanted.
I kind of like though. He gets the.
My!
It's been fun.
Oh my! Yeah, I think that's a good death scene. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, it's great.
The other thing to mention though is Patrick Stewart's style and Shatner's style. Yeah, they don't go well together, which is weird because Stewart's kind of Spocky in places. So I would have, but Shatner's amped up to 11 style doesn't work with Patrick Stewart when he's either being underplaying, which he can do, or doing Shakespearean. They just don't quite gel together.
It was an interesting idea, but it could not.
I don't hate myself for watching it. Let's put it that way. I was entertained. I'm always entertained. Except maybe number 1. But you like number 1, don't you? You like the first film.
Yeah.
I just feel like
that movie.
It's a cut price 2001 for me. That's kind of how it feels to me. But let's agree to differ on that. I mean, me and you feel very differently about Picard season 3 as well. You know, these things happen.
Well, I don't know actually. Picard season 1 and 2 are abhorrent. But season 3 is the only watchable.
Oh, okay. I thought you hated it too. I didn't realize that.
I don't hate it as much as I hate the others. Yeah, there's less egregious stuff in it. Yeah,
but I did have a good time with Star Trek Generations, despite everything.
I mean, no matter what the films are, they're fun.
I've got to be honest. I prefer it to Insurrection and Nemesis. I just find it more fun than those two. Nemesis should have been a great film, but really wasn't. It just, I don't know what was wrong with it, but it just didn't work. Whereas Insurrection was just an episode, right? It was just an episode of Next Gen. Not a very good one either.
It had some nice touches.
That's some.
So you've been smashing all the films then? You've just been sort of...
Not all of them. I've been kind of picking and choosing. I watched 3. I watched 5. For some reason, I didn't watch 4. I watched 2, 3. I can't remember why I didn't watch 4. 4's great, right?
Yeah.
6, really like 6. I quite like 5. 5's got some great stuff, and it's got fan dancing. right?
And you watch. You've been putting in the hours. You've been putting in the hours.
Yeah, only over the last few weeks, not like in all in
Yeah.
one week or anything. But Generations was the last Star Trek one I watched prior to watching this episode, so that it was on my mind. Anyway, let's get back to the episode we're talking about.
Yeah, let's go back a few years.
Yes.
Yeah, so this episode I picked, this is season 2, episode 4 of the original series, Mirror Mirror. I'll give you the quickest rundown of this episode of all time.
Right.
Kirk is on the planet and he is talking to a race of completely peaceful race. And they won't let them have the dilithium crystals. So that negotiation has failed. And then he transports back up to the ship. But whilst he transports, something goes wrong because there's like a storm happening. And he ends up on an alternate reality version of the Enterprise. Hence the name Mirror Mirror. This is a universe where it's the Terran Empire, not the Federation, has ships and there's a version of
They're militaristic, basically, right?
Military. And we'll get into it.
Yeah,
they're essentially a completely parallel universe to the one we know. And Kirk has to kind of fudge his way through it and then find his way back to his own reality, which he does. And they kind of alter the reality they were in just before they leave it in a sort of meaningful way, and we'll talk about that more. But yeah, we'll talk about the details in a sec. But that's kind of the gist. This was the first parallel universe.
I think I think this is one of those ones people are aware of who don't even particularly know much about Star Trek, because the mirror stuff is kind of significant all through Star Trek after this, isn't it? There's a lot of it.
So
Discovery loves it. Bloody hell. But
DS9 loves it too.
DS9. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, forget your like Marvel Cinematic Universe alternate realities. Like this is what 67. Yeah, this is like the sort of first, at least as far as I know. There's definitely probably been parallel universes talked in science fiction before this, but this is the first like screened one that I know of, or that I saw. And,
I mean, Twilight Zone did quite a few episodes with effectively parallel universes. So it wasn't entirely new to the American viewing public. Some of the ideas in this, but
it's the first one in Star Trek, and like you say, it was such a success that they recall this many times. This universe, this Terran universe. And it's a through story that continues into TNG and then into DS9 and then later into Discovery. This alternate reality basically running parallel to the one that we know canonically and watch. So it was really cool. This is the first episode.
Apparently, there's one episode of Enterprise that also, or there might be more than one, but Enterprise also does this, but I've only ever seen one episode of Enterprise, so I couldn't tell you anything.
The
pilot, right?
I actually have a shout out. One of my friends who watches the podcast has challenged us to watch an episode of Enterprise. So
I'm totally fine to do that.
We've definitely got to do that. It'd be really fun.
Yeah, I've watched Broken Arrow, so I know the basic setup. Right.
Yeah, there's some good.
I also understand.
I'll say that, but it's not my favorite.
I've also listened to other podcasts, and while I haven't been subject to any spoilers, I have heard discussion where people who really like Star Trek in the discussion say they consider Enterprise season 4 one of the best Star Trek seasons. But I don't know how true that is.
Interesting. Yeah. I think it's strong, but it is a decent season of Star Trek, and there are some good, really strong episodes in Enterprise. It gets slept on a lot, but it's not in my top.
Well, like I say, like I've said, I'm going through Star Trek kind of in order of broadcast, so I'm still going through Deep Space Nine. So once I've done that, Voyager's next. And after
Yeah.
that will be Enterprise. However, Voyager, I'm looking way more forward to Enterprise than Voyager. But you like Voyager, and you're making me feel
Dude.
like I'm going to enjoy it more than I think I will.
You don't know. You don't know.
I don't
I
know.
think you
I
are.
don't know
I think you are
either.
going to enjoy it. I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to
Well, I know there's a
prime
lot
your
of Borg in it,
expectations too high.
so I like the Borg stuff in TNG, but it's not just Borg, is it? So yeah.
Yeah. How do you know that?
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the episode. So
yeah.
So this is a really interesting thing. As soon as the transporter goes wrong, it's kind of not physically noticeable to Kirk. So it's Kirk, Uhura, Scotty, and McCoy.
Yeah.
That get caught. They're in the away mission in the diplomatic discussions with this race. And then they sort of transport over to the the other universe. And Spock's there with a beard. And Kirk,
and they're wearing slightly different uniforms, right?
Well, they're all got swords or daggers.
Yeah, daggers,
and like you say, medals. They've got like medals and stuff on them, right? And it clear, Kirk kind of reacts instantly, like he plays into it straight away. He pretends.
Lieutenant Kyle says something like, "There was some weird aberration as they transported in." And so Spock says, "Are you feeling all right, Captain Kirk?" And he's like, "No, I don't feel too good. I think we need to convene in the sort of medical room, or
He plays it really coy, really quickly, like he blends in,
so they could discuss it, right?"
Because Spock's like, the usual, "How did negotiations go?" And he says, "I failed completely."
Yeah.
And then Spock says, "The usual orders then, sir?" And he's like, "Yes." And then Spock's like, to the bridge, "I'm ready the phaser array. We'll destroy the city within the next hour or something." And that's when you kind of know that something's, I mean, just, you knew something was wrong anyway, but now you know it's seriously wrong.
Plus, I think the other giveaway was the fact they were doing almost Nazi salutes.
But you don't see that straight away. That comes a little bit later.
Oh, is it? Is it?
Down the hallway.
It's every time you see it, it's like, it's a bit of an Elon there. Right.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing that happens is Spock sort of says to the transporter chief, like, "Did you messed up? You did
Oh yes.
There's a fluctuation.
Give me your agonizer. Agonizer. Give me your agonizer. Oh,
says he tortures him right in front of everyone.
Yeah, I want to talk about that guy. That's Lieutenant Kyle, right? Years ago, I read this article. It says, there's a Star Trek regular you don't know, and it's Lieutenant Kyle, and he's been in 50 episodes. He's like, you what? I've watched Star Trek several times. I've never noticed this guy. And then what I've read up more recently, he wasn't in 50 episodes. He's been in 11.
Right.
British actor, British character as well. I think he also had a bit part as Lieutenant Kyle in Afrikaan 2. As well.
Really?
Right. Sorry, I said that all wrong. Wrath of Khan as well is what I meant.
I know.
So yeah, this guy is kind of more regular than say Yeoman Rand. But we think of Yeoman Rand before him, do we?
I like that about the original series. They definitely play the extra crewman much better than some of the, like, in TNG. It's like, can you remember anyone really, like, outside of the main crew? Whereas in TOS, there's like actually quite a few characters that you're like, oh yeah, I recognize her, or I recognize him. Like, oh yeah, that Yeoman, she's been in multiple episodes. It's good. Feels more coherent.
So Kyle, I like it was, and actually, you know what? I always think, there's Kyle whenever I see him. Because he's kind of distinctive looking, isn't he? But yeah, he gets tortured.
And then he just gets on with it. It's just normal. You make a mistake, you get tortured, you move on, so you don't, hopefully make the same mistake twice. So it's an interesting, you can already tell it's different.
Seems legit, saves all the shouting.
Yeah. So then you get like a zoom in on Spock's beard, right? And then it cuts to the opening scene. And I thought they missed a trick here, right? I guess they didn't do this in the 60s, but you totally could have changed the intro.
Yes.
To be the different shit.
I feel like I've definitely seen episodes of Sci-Fi where they've definitely done that. and I can't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
a specific example. But yes, they could have changed the intro. That would have been
I
kind of
think
cool.
like it's definitely feels like a Rick and Morty thing. Like I'm sure shows like that have done it where it's an alternate reality.
Agents of Shield do it. Agents of Shield do it quite a bit. Whenever there's
Right.
sort of a change in something weird's happened, they will change the intro to suit whatever weirdness is happening.
Yeah, they could have done that.
That's
That
what
would have been
they-
cool. But I guess it's maybe beyond '60s
Yeah,
television planning.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I have to tell you, I watched this in HD. I own all the sorry, the original series in HD, the new remaster stuff with the new effects and all that. The new
Yeah.
effects look great. However, Spock's beard does not entirely stand up to scrutiny when you look
Oh,
at
in
it.
HD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was two noticeable things in this, really noticeable, which was Spock's beard and the fight sequences. The stuntman was really obviously different. He
Clearly
had a
not.
different haircut and everything. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh dear.
Yeah, McCoy's one's
But
really funny. The guy who replaces McCoy is like a foot taller than him.
well,
Like
also
he's
Spock's
massive.
one has curly. Spock's replacement stuntman has curly hair.
Yeah. I just didn't give
Not
a crap back
straight,
then.
things
Great.
like that, right? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go on. Go on.
Yeah, yeah. So then, like you say, they make a really good plan, right? Kirk on his feet is like, yeah, so I don't feel so good. Something definitely happened. Let's go. Everybody who's on the away crew, let's go to the doctor's medical bay, which is a really good idea, right? Let's separate. Let's figure out what's going on. And like you say, on the way they get Nazi saluted multiple times.
Yeah.
And then they're in the med bay, and they're kind of like, right, what's going on? They kind of surmise that they're in an alternate reality. They sort of this is where they give the audience who maybe don't know what's going on exactly what's going on. They say we're in a parallel universe. We've been swapped with somebody, so there's our evil counterparts are in our universe. They tell the audience exactly what's happening, which is fine.
Yeah, you expect that in this kind of show at this era.
Yeah,
Right?
it's the kind of thing, right? Without the Twilight Zone narrator, you kind of need to do it in.
Yeah. Well, there's two ways of doing it. Them sat explaining it like they did, or you get a shot of the other place and what's going on there, which they leave for later in the episode. But so they elect to do it this way. So yeah, that's fine. Or third way is narrator, like you say. Yeah.
So they come up with a plan, right? Kirk is like to Scotty and McCoy. He's like, figure out a way to replicate the transporter error, and so we can get back. And Uhura, you go back to your station. Just try and see what my orders are as a captain. Like, what am I actually supposed to be doing here? So we can blend in, basically. Like, he really immediately recognizes that if he shows his hand that he's not who he says he is, these guys are just going to kill him, or they're going to torture him, or
Another thing about HD, there's one more thing about how they look, right? Uhura in this, bloody hell, she looks fantastic in HD.
Yeah, I feel like she got into shape for this film. Like, she's ripped.
Yeah, man, she looks great. I mean, you had to laugh. The 5-length boots, and there's a boot knife at the top of one. And she's got the sash around the waist, and yeah. And I did laugh about Sulu sort of being lechy, knowing
creepy George Takei. Yeah.
A bit of sex pest. It was funny. Yes, I like the way they're all a bit sneery and shifty looking, isn't they? Everyone and you can see it quite clearly. It's being acted up again in a big HD. It looks good. They are acting shifty. You can kind of tell they're all planning something. All of them, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Really cool. Yeah, like the way that crew works, you can instantly tell the vibe is different on the ship. There's security posted at every door. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes, I did. Two guards each door, right?
Yeah, which was really cool. And yeah, so there's a good moment when Kirk is on the bridge, and he orders Scotty to disrupt the phaser array.
Yeah.
So that, when he inevitably has to shoot the planet, he can say, "Oh, the thunderstorm broke the phasers. That's so we can't do it." Right?
Yeah.
Scotty tries to walk into the phaser array, and it's got guards on it. Right? It's got security on it, and they're like, "Well, we can't let you in." He says, "Oh, it's captain's order." He's like, "Well, actually, I have to go through the security chief, Sulu."
Sulu. Yeah.
And so Scotty calls the captain and says, "Phaser array is fully operational." And I love that touch that on a military ship, the security is actually so good that the chief engineer can't just walk into the phaser array for no reason. So I thought that was a really nice touch.
And Scotty actually says later on, "What's all the security? It's like the Gestapo." He says those words. So it's kind of interesting. They didn't really egg the Nazi thing, but there was that kind of vibe about the whole thing, wasn't it? But yeah, it was kind of cool. And then Kirk basically puts in no, we're going to give them 12 hours.
Which is really interesting, right? Because everybody on the Terran ship is like, why haven't we killed them all yet? And Kirk's like, I'll give you 12 hours to reconsider. And obviously the race from the universe we knew, the Halkans, completely peaceful.
Yeah, and they say we would rather die than give up our crystals if you're going to use them to hurt anyone. He says that to Kirk right in the first scene, don't they?
Yeah, so in our normal universe, they won't give them to the Federation because there's a chance that even though the Federation are peaceful now, they won't always be. Yeah. So they refuse on ethical grounds to give them the dilithium crystals. And then they say, well, you can just take them from us. And Kirk's like, well, we won't. So, take that into consideration.
Yeah.
And then obviously in the Terran world, they're just like, we'll just kill them all and then we'll take the crystals. And Kirk's trying to delay that which is interesting because it's not his universe.
He just doesn't want to kill people though, right?
And we see that later with McCoy, but it doesn't matter that this is, not a universe that they are living in. They still don't want to do this.
Yeah. Interestingly, they make no plan whatsoever for trying to save the Halkans in any way, do they? They're just, we're getting out of here.
Well, it's game over, right? Like, what can they do? Like, they
can blow up the ship, maybe. That's about it, right? But another ship's going to come and destroy the Halkans.
It comes back at the end of the episode. We'll talk about that.
I've got more to talk about as well concerning the continuation of this story. But
yes, there's some good stuff.
Yeah.
And we see.
Anyway, Spock immediately says, "I've got to report this."
Oh yes, that's right. I've got to report this to the Empire.
He just tells him, and this Spock is amoral, but he's he's straight. There's no underhandedness about this Spock, like the rest of the crew there is, right? But this Spock's like, I don't want to be captain. I'm happy to do my science stuff. And I think there's a bit of, the captain's always got a target on his back as well, right?
Yes. He mentions that later in the episode, doesn't he?
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that in both universes, this Kirk rises to the top, through entirely different moral codes. It's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is interesting.
The alpha, as it's such, or if you like, it rises to the top in whatever they're in, right? That's kind of the implication there, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's interesting. I've got some notes on evil Kirk. Well, we can talk about that in a sec.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Kirk makes that call. He says, "Look, I'll give him 12 hours," and then, that gets noted, right, by the Empire. And then he gets into the turbo lift, and then evil Chekhov follows him.
And I like evil Chekhov. He's kind of shifty and sweaty.
He's really good at being evil. Like his face is like the most evil face I think you could pull.
Yeah,
He does a really good job at that. And then he jumps in with a bunch of goons. He jumps the captain, and he says, like, "Look, when you die, we'll all move up in rank." And
no one's going to question us.
No one's going to question a guy
because you disobeyed orders.
Disobeyed orders, exactly. So it's just going to be normal. That's just normal reactions on this Terran ship. And he gets saved. He gets a bit lucky. One of the crew is sort of loyal to the captain, and they sort of
says, "I'm your man, Captain. I just maybe you could give me a promotion and all this. And
Yeah, so
Kirk's like,
they're all vying
maybe
to
you
push him.
could, maybe you could be captain then. And he's going, yeah. So Kirk punches him out.
Yeah, not on my ship. But it's interesting, like there's no like it's not just a fist fight. Like 2 guys die in the hallway. They get
Yeah, they
shot.
just die. Yeah.
And like phases on max, like the dudes get disapparated or whatever you call it, like completely gone.
Yeah.
Which is brutal. And Kurt kind of just I don't know, he doesn't really flinch to that, but I thought he would do.
No.
But yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah.
And then Chekhov gets chucked in the booth.
Yeah, the pain amplifier stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a sort of
Yeah, and
torture
Spot's
chamber
like,
thing.
why is he still alive? Why is he still alive? And all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, Kirk's
just,
like, that's my decision.
that's my decision. And he lets him out as well.
He lets him out, yeah.
Which again,
unprecedented.
everyone's in the crew's like, this ain't right. What's going on?
Yeah, there's something wrong here, yeah.
Yes. And then there's a bit more discussion between like Scotty and McCoy and stuff, and saying, "What sort of universe is this?" And Kirk specifically says, "Play back my history, command's history."
Oh yeah,
and
he uses the computer voice. Yeah. That's fun.
Different computer voice.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
And then it goes through. Oh yeah, you killed 5,000 civilians because of this. You got your post by assassinating Christopher Pike.
Yeah,
it says that. So nice continuity there, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, that's enough. We know what sort of universe this is then. And McCoy mentions, they're betting about how much pain a guy could take in the medical bay.
Yes. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That's right.
Yeah, amazing.
This is pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. Then we get a brief. Oh, it also mentions that it's the ISS Enterprise.
Yes, the Imperial.
Starship, which is cool. I love that. I thought that was a really nice little cheeky touch.
Yes, no Federation here. It's just Empire, right?
Yeah. So then we see what the evil counterparts. We get like a cut to the evil counterparts, and it's just evil Kirk, like, "Get your hands off me!" Like,
I'll have you all killed and all this kind of stuff.
I'll put you all to death, and then he gets chucked in the brig, and everyone in there is the evil going rah, 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 and like our Spock, the Spock we know, is stood outside the sort of prison trolling them. He's like, this is fascinating. Something's clearly wrong.
I can give you credits. Is that what you want? I can make you rich.
I can make you power. Yeah,
fascinating. So
fascinating, interesting, right? Because he's seeing like a completely different. So, minor gripe about evil Kirk, right?
Yeah.
They sort of portray the evil counterparts. We say evil, right? We're just gonna say the alternate reality of the versions of these people as like barbaric and, like you say, like how would you describe it? Like barbaric and strong and like getting your way through fighting and stuff like that. Whereas, kind of what I would have actually expected for somebody to be the leader of that is calculating and clever.
Clever as fuck, right? Which, again, when we find out more about the evil Kirk, he's got to everything by being a clever bastard, right?
Yeah, exactly. We learn all about his history, where he's been a sneaky person. He's backstabbing people, and he's getting
and he's got some tech no one else has got. A Tantalus device. He's got,
exactly. Like, and it doesn't really match the Kirk that gets immediately captured. I would have preferred.
It's a real shortcut, right?
It really is, because like our Kirk that we know, right? He blends in straight away, right? He understands that something's different, and it's a thread that later Star Treks pull on, which is an evil version or a Terran in our universe causing mayhem because they're so driven and sneaky and ruthless. They can get really far in our universe. Because no one's as brutal and ruthless as they are.
Yeah.
And they kind of undertouch that in this episode because it's just kind of like, oh, well, evil Kirk gets caught immediately. And I feel like the dude would have been way sneakier. He would have instantly realized that
They need another
Spock
10
doesn't have
minutes
a
to fit all
beard.
that in, wouldn't they? That's the thing,
Yeah,
I suppose.
they didn't have enough time, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and I
a
think
shame.
they explain it right at the end, don't they? Where Spock says, well, it's very difficult for a savage to fit in as a civilized man. It's much easier for a
Yeah,
civilized man to fit in as a savage.
which again is a shortcut.
Which I thought was
It's
reasonable.
they address it. Yeah, I just wish. I don't know. I just wished just for a little bit more. Give me an extra 20 minutes of runtime, and an already good episode could be brilliant. But yeah,
yeah.
just a
But
minor gripe.
I kind of agree. It was goofy that the first shot is them dragging Kirk to
Dragging him to the brig.
prison. Yeah, while he's going, kill you all, and all this kind of thing. It just seemed a bit odd. But yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're trying to work on. Yeah, go on.
Go on. No, you go. You go.
I'm gonna say, then when we find out he's got a woman, one of the officers, Marlena. So she keeps talking about, why are you doing it? You've got something up your sleeve, haven't you? And like he kind of just lets her go with that, and basically starts hinting, yeah, I've got even bigger ambitions than what you're saying. That's his defense. It's kind of cool. And also, that would have been nice if that had filtered out to the rest of the crew to put them on their edge, right? What's he up to? You know.
Yeah.
But again, because of time limits, it couldn't be extended to that. So I get it. Yeah, the stuff with Spock, I think, is really done well. Actually.
Yeah. Because he's racking his brain. He's really trying to figure out what he's up to, right? Because he's like, this is not like him at all, like the captain.
Yeah.
And
this Spock even shares orders. He says, well, if you don't do this, I've got orders to, take you out.
Doesn't want to kill him. Yeah.
He goes, I don't want to be captain.
Yeah.
You're a good captain. And he says, we've been successful and profitable, which again suggests this is a proper piratey kind of empire, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just militaristic. It's pirates, basically, right? Space pirates. Is kind of the vibe of it. So that's kind of interesting. It's about profit as well as success.
Yeah. What was another little interesting tidbit into their society was the idea of like the captain's woman being a position of power.
Yeah.
And that she works for that. That is like a thing that she works for, and she's had a taste of being the captain's woman, which gives me all these privileges and power. And once she realizes that our Kirk is kind of not interested in that way, she kind of thinks that it's kind of over between them, and it seems like it was sort of over between her and the evil Kirk anyway. It kind of was falling apart. So her position was almost at jeopardy.
It's interesting that she knew about the Tantalus. I mean, I know it's a writer's shortcut again, but it's interesting that the evil Kirk must have shared that with her as well.
Yeah, exactly. With like no fear.
Probably boastfully. Yeah, probably not scared of her. Probably wanted to show off. It's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And to quickly tell the audience, if they've not seen the episode for some reason, this device can spy magically. I don't know how the tech works. It's never explained. Can magically spy on anyone, and then when you press a button, they just disappear.
They just effectively die. Yeah. So that's again
a very powerful weapon to have.
Yeah. So what they're saying is that's how he gets rid of any enemies. He can spy on them and instantly kill them.
Yeah. So he's done something. Presumably, he's done something to the Enterprise, which means anybody on board gets. It
makes you wonder if it's works beyond the Enterprise. He kind of Kirk says to Spock, "I've got a device that'll make you invincible," which suggests it works wherever, but that's never really explored or explained.
Yeah, never explored. Yeah, never really talked about too much. There's a good moment as well that I really liked. So there's a point when evil Spock sort of figures out. He's like, what? He asks the computer, where is Dr. McCoy right now? And he's like, oh, Dr. McCoy is in the med bay doing research with the captain. And Spock's like squinty-eyed instantly, like, what kind of research are they doing? And it's like, it's classified. And Spock's like, right, okay, they're definitely up to something, like possibly my removal, right? Because Spock has been confronting the captain over his weird decisions all along. So he's kind of thinking the captain's going to take him out, right? He's
Yeah.
at least worried about it.
Yeah, but there is a nice moment right at the end. I don't know if you're going to get to it, but where he goes, "Why are you listening to my communications, Mister Sulu?"
Oh yeah, exactly.
He's on Sulu's case immediately. That
Yes,
made
he
me
was
laugh.
listening in, right?
It's
To
like,
his
oh, I
flawed
was just
computer.
about to call you.
Yeah, yeah, proper evil Sulu, which is good.
Yes,
But
yes,
yeah, the evil Spock confronts our heroes in the med bay, and then he kind of
yeah.
like he figures
It's
it
big.
out, right? He knows what's up. He knows there's something
Yeah,
not right, and he
yeah,
fights them, and he 1v4s them.
yes. Until they
Uh,
slightly get the better of him, right?
they just get the upper hand, right? Kirk
Oh no! Before that,
knocks
though,
him.
Sulu. We've missed out the whole Sulu having a go at the captain, don't we? Or is that? I can't remember the
No,
order
no,
now.
it's later. It's later.
Oh, okay. Go on then. Go on then.
Yeah, it's later.
I
So
thought it was
yeah,
earlier than this. Okay.
yeah. Spock. It's a really good just visual of how strong a Vulcan is against a human.
Yeah.
It gets talked about a lot, but when we see it in a few episodes of Star Trek, but it's a great scene when it's three able-bodied blokes and a Uhura, who is probably the fittest one of the room, right? She's absolutely ripped. They're all trying to fight him at the same time, and he takes them out. He's just throwing them all around the room like he's a beast.
Yeah.
And then eventually he gets like cracked with a weapon.
A skull.
It's like a
It looked
lethal
like
blow.
a skull.
Yeah, they smash him over the head with what is it? It's some sort of
It looked like a skull, but it could have been a vase or some sort of. It was
it's
a big
some sort
white
of
round
thing.
object. Yeah.
And they immediately recognize that it was a lethal blow or going to be a lethal blow. Like he's going to die. This hit was so bad, right?
Yeah.
So he's poleaxed, and they're just about to leave. They're like, "Look, we've Scotty's managed to rig the transporter. We're leaving." And McCoy's like, "I can't leave him.
They're on
He's
a
dying."
time limit as well, isn't it? Some window
Yeah.
of opportunity is closing. So Scott is going, we'll never get out if we don't leave in the next 10 minutes. So that's kind of cool. Adds the clicking clock to the whole thing, right?
Yeah. And McCoy refuses to leave him because he's like, "I can't just leave him to die, Jim. Right? Like, I'm a doctor. I have to. That's part of my role. Is like we can't kill people."
Yeah.
And there's a nice moment when Shatner kind of Kirk tries to stop him, and he just puts his hand on his shoulder and leaves, like he understands the duty that the Doctor has to him.
Yeah,
which I really liked. He doesn't try and fight it too much. He's just like, you know what, I respect your decision. Even though being stuck in this universe would be absolute hell.
Yeah.
He takes that risk. He says, "Well, you meet me
5 minutes, no more.
In 5 minutes."
Yeah, 5 minutes. And this is where Sulu comes in.
That's
and
right.
He even tells them the plan. Oh, actually, no, there's a thing before this I've just got to mention where they have to get Sulu distracted while they're doing an energy transfer, and they get
while Scotty rigs the transporter. Yeah,
I love that bit because the Michelle Coast is so good. Right, she's like proper beast mode when she's kind of like making up to him, so he's not looking, and he grabs her, and she's looking a bit uncomfortable, and then she goes, "No, I've changed my mind." Pulls a knife out on him, boot knife out on him straight away. He goes, "Yeah, you think you can handle me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll stay here." That was great. That was really fun. And the knife in the boot at the top of the thigh length boot is very funny.
Yeah.
And I love that knife fighting is a thing in this universe. Everyone carries a knife, don't they? It's phaser and a knife in this place.
I do find it a little funny when I'm like, they're supposed to be really good at, like, presumably they've killed many people to get to the positions they've got to, and then he's going to fight the captain and he pulls a knife, and I'm like,
shoot him.
Indiana Jones him, right? Like, just shoot the guy. Like, what? What's this knife business in space?
Yeah, it's a bit like June, isn't it? It's a bit like June.
Nice. Yeah, I like it because June's amazing. But there was no in-universe reason for him not to shoot him. They should have done. Yeah, there should have been something like all guns are secured, similar to like Klingon rules, right? It's like if you
Yeah,
can kill him through sword fighting, then you're worthy, kind of thing. That kind of
yeah. Guns
cultural.
are for the weak, right? It's all
Yeah, they
that.
could have dropped something like that in, and then just. But nah, no, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
They couldn't think of everything.
yeah. So,
Um, so yeah, Sulu shows up, tries to stop them. He's like, look at the. I can spin a story about how the captain stopped Spock from killing him, and then unfortunately, the captain was mortally wounded as well, so I have to take charge. That kind of thing.
yeah,
But then he immediately gets beaten up, so no problem.
yeah,
Uhura
yeah.
beats him up, right?
Well, no, it's not just that. Old Marlena uses the Tantalus thing to basically
That's right.
vaporize the other guards, right?
That's
So
right. Yeah. Oh,
Sulu's
yeah.
on
His
her own.
goons get vaporized. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then yeah, yeah.
So
Uhura
Martina, yeah,
has to go
she sort of, she saves them and then meets them at the transporter, doesn't she?
transporter.
And
Yeah. Meanwhile,
that's a cool. Go on. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, McCoy's looking after Spock and making sure he's not going to die.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's that going on.
That's that going on. And then in the transporter room, um, she is it Marlena or Martina? I can't remember.
Marlena. She wants to
Marlena.
go back with him, doesn't
She
she?
wants to go back. She wants to leave. It's so sad. Like it's a sad thing. And Kirk's like, we can't. Like that's not possible. 4 of us came. 4 of us have to go back. And she says, "Oh, well, there's only 3 of you." And he's like, "There, McCoy's coming, so I can't take you. I'm sorry," kind of thing. And she pulls a gun on them. She's like, "Fucking take me.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want to stay here." Which is she recognizes what's going on because she's been watching the Tantalus. She figures it out by herself, basically, which is pretty cool.
yeah.
And
So
then
she's got the gun on them, but old Uhura kicks her ass.
yeah, she beast modes again with a knife. She gets with a knife, she nicks it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, great.
Then Spock wakes up and pins. Like it's quite a cool scene. Like he wakes up and McCoy immediately is like, "Oh fuck," and Spock pins him against the wall. I mean, you can tell like McCoy's freaking out, and then he mind melds with McCoy. Right? He's like, "Why did the captain spare my life?" So he mind melds with McCoy, which is a really cool
This episode
thing.
is entirely consistent with the rest of the lore. It's not got like some writing bullshit that you only ever see in this episode. Is you know what I mean? Like we saw him by any other name in the Warp 11 stuff. That was a bit of
Yeah,
bullshit.
true. The
They don't
Tantalus
have any of that. In this.
device
The Tantalus device. Well, that's in
is a
the
little
mirror
bit of that.
universe. That's in the mirror universe. So okay.
Yeah. But like we know that tech's possible, and it's kind of like, wow, if that's possible, yeah. But like, yeah, generally speaking, I think you're right. Like, it's very good lore wise.
Yeah.
And it's a new universe, right? So you could even like I say, like the nice societal and like hierarchy and culture that they've put into that universe seems very real and consistent, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
As well, on top of it working in the universe that we know, so it is quite impressive from that.
They like
space.
their sashes in this universe, don't they? Because Kurt's got one,
Yeah, nice little
Uhura's got
touch.
one. In fact, they've all got one, and a ceremonial knife as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, to sort of wrap up, Spock shows up with McCoy, and he's got he understands immediately. He's like, well, now I know everything, right? I've mind melded with McCoy. I know exactly you're in the wrong universe. You should go back.
Yeah.
And
He
he's like,
assists
we've
them
got 2
basically.
minutes, right? Scotty's like, we've got 2 minutes before like the window closes. So, Captain, can you get on the pad, please? Because we are leaving. And the captain says, I've got 2 minutes. Right, that gives me 2 minutes to convince you, Mr. Spock, to change the course of this universe, right? He has like 2 minutes, and he basically starts saying things like, how long, in your estimate, do you think the Empire can survive under its current regime? And Spock's like 200 years, something like that. And he's like, and after that 200 years, what will happen? He's like, well, the Empire would logically dissolve through revolution and infighting.
Yeah.
And then he's like, so that would be illogical then to support such an empire. And I propose if you support such a regime, that makes you yourself illogical, because he recognizes that even though the Vulcans and Spock is following the Empire, they are still have the tenets of logic, right?
Yeah.
And he uses that to try and persuade, or at least make Spock think about things in a different way.
Yeah.
Rather than
it was good. It was great.
Really nice scene.
And I did
Delivered
like
really well.
how he presented it as like it's illogical not to do this, right? You got to do
he uses the knowledge he's learned from his Spock about how he thinks to because he recognizes.
He also
that
tells
Spock's not
Spock
so
about the
different.
Tantalus field to protect himself, doesn't he?
That's right. He's like,
Yeah.
So Spock's like, well, one man can't change the courses of anything. And he's like, well, no, every revolution started with one man's idea, at least.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I can't do anything without power. And he's like, well, I'll give you that. In my room, there's a machine that could make you invincible. And he's just talking about the ability to remove any enemy, essentially.
Yeah,
which is
and
what
I
you
like
were implying goes beyond the Enterprise, although that's not clear. But
yeah, I do like the way Spock phrases it when I will consider it, Captain. That's what he says. Nice turn of phrase, yes. And then we get the scene where they're back. Well, they basically transport back, and they just say, "Oh, I presume that our counterparts have just gone back to their no explanation." They just
skipped over that.
Yeah. And then they start talking about, and there's a really nice touch where I'm a bit concerned of how easily you fitted into that Empire stuff, Spock.
And
but
McCoy's like, I think I preferred him with the beard. It gave him more character, which I agree. I love evil Spock beard.
I have a Funko Pop gallery of what I consider peers, right? People whose opinions I respect. And it's got the likes of Bing the Merciless in, right?
Oh yeah.
I have got a bearded Spock in that set.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And it is interesting that Spock fitted perfectly well in a totally violent and ruthless society because he's useful and can still do things he wants to do within that, by ignoring all the other stuff.
Here's an interesting thought for you.
Yeah.
Which I noted down. Do you think the mind meld with evil Spock, or at least alternate reality Spock, right? He's less evil. So McCoy and alternate reality. Do you think that changed McCoy?
No. Mind melds only work. Hold on, mind melds work. Did I work one way?
No,
unless it's by choice.
It's mentioned multiple times, right? When Picard mind melds with Sarek, he mentions that they have a bond forever, right? He has the memories. Your thoughts with my thoughts, your thoughts, right? Your thoughts with mine, my thoughts with you, right? Like they trade.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Well, yes, then in that case.
Yeah, I just have that interesting is because there's a point, right, where McCoy is more friendly and funny to Spock.
Yeah.
Then he's really cold at the start of the series, but then they become friends, right? I always wondered if this mind meld changes McCoy.
His attitude to Spock.
It changes his attitude towards Spock, and maybe
it could be an empathy builder. The interesting thing is, Spock doesn't mind meld that much in the original series. I think there's a
big deal, right?
Yeah, I think there's only 2 times he does mind meld with McCoy, and that's here with the mirror Spock, and in the end of Wrath of Khan.
Yeah,
I think that's the only 2 times he does that with McCoy. I don't think he even does it to Kirk or anything. The only other one I can remember that's really striking is in 5, right? Is it 6? No, 6 with Kim Cattrall's. What's her name? I forgot her name. You know the one, the traitor.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's almost rape, a mind rape kind of thing, isn't it? That's
whoa.
Really well. It kind of is in the film. It's kind of a really drastic thing. She starts crying, and she's a Vulcan, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty brutal. That is. It probably does. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. I thought it was a nice little.
Yeah, I do like how they've written Spock in it. Now, just we haven't really talked about this, but this was written by Jerome Bixby,
Yeah,
who also co-wrote By Any Other Name. Interestingly,
really very cool.
and they go again. They're kind of quite faithful to Vulcan sort of lore in both of
Yeah,
those, and indeed, this was directed by the same director. The guy that directed Mirror Mirror also directed By Any Other Name, Mark Daniels.
right.
So there's a lot of connectivity there, really, between those two episodes. Interestingly,
Yeah, I guess season
yeah,
2, right? Yeah, makes sense.
yeah. I like the end, and where Spock basically says, "Oh yeah, they were savage. They were the
Treacherous.
thoroughly good examples of Homo sapiens." It was
Yeah,
quite refreshing to Spock
yeah,
say, and Spock Kurt's like, "I think we've just been insulted," and McCoy's like, "I know we have."
yeah,
I'm not sure if we weren't just insulted. I know we have. Yeah, it's
yeah.
like that. And then Marlena, the version of Marlena from this universe that turns up and she sort of introduces herself because she's just. And Kirk you can see him starting to put the moves on as the episode ends, can't you?
Yeah, it's just kind of a
Seems like a
old.
nice girl.
Yeah, Spock hits him with the old eyebrow raise.
I
Which I
rise,
like.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, great episode. Great episode. This.
it is really good, and it sets up so much, and I think it works because they keep those themes really tight. I think it's interesting. Like, I imagine this is what Gene Roddenberry was imagining is the opposite. Like, what happens if, like fascist rulers kind of take control of Earth and we become conquerors instead of,
You have
it's
security officers
essentially the
locking down
opposite of
everything.
what he wanted, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of an interesting look, and I didn't go too strong. It just felt really well balanced. Got to mention, there's a sequel to this, a direct sequel to this, in a series that maybe we'll do sometime, but I think it's such a far leap from what we're doing, in terms of Star Trek now. It's a bit too much. It's a fan fiction series, which is a really good series. I've watched them all, called Star Trek Continues. And there is a direct sequel to this episode called Fairest of Them All, where they go back and what happens to the Halcons. We see the seeds of revolution starting in the episode.
Oh
I
shit!
won't say more than that.
We forgot
It
to
needs to
mention
be
that.
watched. Yeah. So, yeah, go on. What did
Yeah,
you
we
forget
forgot to mention. So what the last thing, Picard, the last thing Kirk says to Spock is use the Halkins as a platform.
Yeah.
He says, don't destroy them.
Think of some way logically that you can
Yeah,
save them that makes
and
sense.
use that as a platform for like logic and reasoning, and try and push that forward, which I thought was
Yeah.
interesting. So
Yeah.
there, he does actually save the Halkins, right, on that universe, hopefully.
Well, you need to watch the episode.
Well, yeah, but that's fan made, so it doesn't mean shit. Right? No offense to obviously all
You're
the
asking
amazing
me to
fans.
tell you what happens. Is that what you're asking me?
No, because it's fan made. It doesn't matter. It's inconsequential.
No, it does matter to me. It matters to me. It looks exactly
That is
like.
to me.
Right? Yeah, it matters to me.
So okay, real sequel though, right? DS9, right? In DS9, there's multiple episodes of the Mirror Universe, right? Which is interesting. Let's put it that way. In that series, I hopefully won't spoil anything from you from seeing DS9. You've probably seen or talked about it.
I think I've seen at least two. No, probably more. Mirror Universe
in that
episodes.
episode.
I don't think I've seen them all. That's all.
Yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, in one of those episodes, Evil Kira mentions that the Spock in her universe, so the Terran universe, begins like a revolution essentially that is successful to an extent, but it fades out. It gets overturned by the time her time is Does it? No, it's culminated in a basically a massive war, right? There's like two sides. There's the Empire, who are still the Empire, and then there's essentially like the revolutionaries, and it's like
The Rebel Alliance.
yeah, and they have been in conflict for like hundreds of years.
Oh
They've been in
God.
conflict for like a long time. So he basically starts in intergalactic war with the Empire, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of, and he holds up his ideals of like logic and the Empire is not right and all this stuff. But yeah, and it culminates in galactic war.
Yeah.
So that whole universe is fucked, basically.
Yeah, it feels like if Spock had never had that encounter, the Terran Empire might have just wound up on its own earlier than, and a rebellion has actually
Possibly.
strengthened it. You know, that
Maybe,
sometimes
maybe.
happens, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That
it's true.
sometimes happens. That sort of thing. So yeah, you can never tell with politics. There's always a reaction, and sometimes it just doesn't go the way you think it's going to.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
it's nice, right? They intertwine that. They want to touch on that mirror universe, and it's absolute hell whenever anybody goes back to it. There's a reason
you're
why, right?
making me wonder whether I should force you to watch this sequel on this fan made. I'm not going to though, because it's too early in our run to actually go into fan fiction.
Yeah. We've still got real Star Trek to watch.
stick to real telly, but it
Yeah.
is. I found it a really interesting episode, and it's interesting because I had trouble with the first few episodes. I just couldn't get on with the Kirk character, the way he was portrayed. It didn't work for me. But
Because he wasn't
weirdly,
real.
when that actor who was doing it, shut up, was doing the evil Kirk, it worked way better. It worked way better. So, yeah, that was kind of interesting. And I really actually quite liked how that episode resolved. But we'll not talk about it anymore. But yes, so there is a direct story sequel to that in the universe, though it's a fan fiction one, and there's lots of other episodes of Star Trek in other series. Which the mirror universe is a big deal in Star Trek now, isn't it?
It is. And can we talk about Discovery just a little bit?
Yes,
obviously,
yes.
Discovery is, generally speaking, I kind of dislike it.
Yeah, me too.
However, I
Apart
think
from Doug Jones's stuff and a few others. Yeah. But go on.
so there's in season 1, Jason Isaacs' character is like the captain of the
Oh, I
Discovery.
loved his character. I was hoping he'd
he's
come back.
He's a really interesting character, right? He's like he's a captain, but he's like a recluse captain. He's kind of very different to what you'd expect.
Yes.
Or at least from what we've seen in Star Trek. And then it gets revealed, spoilers for Discovery Season 1, if you're for some reason bothered about that. He turns out to be a mirror universe character that swapped with whatever version of that Jason Isaacs captain was in our universe, and has basically been living in our universe, cultivating power and artifacts and generally being a bit of a bad guy, but staying undercover. And that was a fucking really cool reveal. I thought that was wicked. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
And then they, in classic, post 2010s skill, completely wasted all of that clever interaction.
Of course, yeah.
And it went to nothing.
Shit the bed. However, I will say I did like season 2 when Pike was a character, right?
Yeah.
I like Strange New Worlds. I really like Strange New Worlds.
They did a bit of that.
And quite a bit of season 2 was basically Strange New Worlds, right? Before Strange New Worlds was a thing.
Yeah. And we've got to talk about Michelle Yeoh's character in Star Trek. Again, from that Discovery universe. So she is like a Terran Emperor?
She's the Empress, yeah.
She's like she's the top dog of the Terran Empire, and she comes over to our universe, and she's a problem, right? She starts causing wars and stuff. Again, it gets completely wasted, and then they turned it into that horrendous Section 31 movie that just came out, and it's one of the worst things of all time. But anyway, it was all ruined. But yeah, weirdly, modern Star Trek writers, whoever they are, they're very obsessed with the mirror universe characters. and you think it's going to be in a good way, and then it's in like an edgy, horrible Zack Snyder way, and it ruins it.
What makes me laugh is there's some episodes where, for example, Tilly, who's like this flaky character in Discovery, she has to pretend to be from the Mirror of the Universe version, and she suddenly gets really sexy because
it's a fun episode. Yeah, I remember that.
Really
they were all pretty good at actually. Even in the character Michael Burnham, who's the least.
She's a terrible. I like the actress, but that's just a horrible bit of writing to make her like basically perfect, right?
Yeah, she didn't work, but in the Mirror Universe, I'll tell you what, she was kind of interesting, kind of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's just one of those things. Watching all of those shows make you wish you were watching Mirror Mirror.
Yeah,
so I'm glad we're doing that.
The Mirror Universe, Star Trek Mirror Universe, is the Star Trek's extended version of a what if, right? That's what it kind of is,
like a canonical what if. Yeah,
canonical what if. So it's kind of interesting, and the whole dynamic is kind of cool. And this episode set it all up very, very well. So
and I think that speaks to the strong writing and setup. Like the world building. You see it right with fan fiction existing as a thing, or you see, all this stuff. It all comes from and like sequels. It all comes from a really solid base, which is exactly what you get in this episode. It sets up a whole new universe with a really solid base, and you can kind of fill in the gaps, and you can kind of go anywhere from there. And they did, right? They made all those sequel episodes, and like you say, the fan fiction and stuff. And that just speaks to the quality of this episode, I think.
Yeah. The other thing about it is the title, Mirror Mirror. Clearly a reference to Snow White, right? It's Star Trek's propensity to use Shakespeare or classic literature or things we're familiar with in its titling. And I was kind of just had a quick look at the names of the episode in Deep Space Nine. And again, doing the same kind of thing about the Mirror Universe. Through the Looking Glass. What a good name, right? From Alice in Wonderland. The Emperor's New Cloak is another one.
The old story.
And so that's kind of cool, right? It's kind of I like that Star Trek does that, but it's not just confined for the Mirror Universe, it's anything, but I kind of like that. And indeed the fan fiction one, Fairest of Them All, a continuation of Mirror Mirror on the Wall, so yeah, kind of cool.
Like that.
Don't you?
I just hate. I'm just not about fan fiction at all.
Okay,
leave it to the professionals.
Okay,
that's all right. It's just like
I think some of the original cast are in a couple of the episodes as well. And the Scott is played by his son, James Doohan's son. Is plays Scotty in this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and I quite like the Spock in it. The guy playing Spock's quite good. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, let's leave that. Let's part that.
Yeah. Any last thoughts, dude, on Mirror Mirror? Any last thoughts or comments or notes that you took?
Yeah, Bearded Spock is one of my favourite characters in Star Trek. Simply put, I know it's exactly the same as Unbearded Spock, pretty much, but I don't care. It's just a bit cooler.
20 minutes of screen time, right? I'd say average.
Yeah, no, I really like it. I really like that. I just like the fact he's slightly different, and he's basically Spock, but no morality. But Spock doesn't necessarily talk about morality much, does he? At all? He does the right thing mostly, but he does it for logical reasons. And it's interesting that Bearded Spock does the wrong things for logical reasons, right?
There's no reason I would say that. In the spectrum of D&D alignment, right? I'd say like the Spock we know is like lawful neutral, I'd say.
Yes.
Whereas this Spock is neutral.
Just neutral, yes.
Like he sat right in the middle.
That's a good way to put it, yes. But he can also...
He does both sides, right? He's good and he does good stuff and bad stuff,
Yeah, Kurt, and his reasons for doing what he does in Mirror are entirely consistent and not like, that's just writing bollocks, right? It feels correct for this version of Spock. But you just feel like it's kind of interesting that he's like not that far removed from the evil because he's just doing his job, kind of thing. But I do wonder if Kirk's appeal actually does spark something in his human side, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a call to good, in effect.
I guess. I think that. I think it's interesting because he mentions at some point later in the episode. I think he's saying it to. Is it Sulu? And he's saying like, "Look, if I've ever become captain and you come for me, I'll bury you.
Yeah.
And if I don't bury you, my family will, and they're Vulcans, and it's a threat."
No, he says, I have allies, or I have, not underlings, but he says a word, and he says, and some of them are Vulcans, is what he says.
Yeah, and it's a threat.
Interestingly,
right?
we do see one guy behind Spot who's a Vulcan. We do see that, a Vulcan.
True.
Which isn't referenced, but you see one of
It's just
the guys
there,
following
isn't it?
around is also a Vulcan. So they obviously thought about that and made it's there. No one has to say anything. It doesn't matter. But
Which
then
implies, right? Because we know in our past, or in the universe that we know that the Vulcans had a catastrophic war where they decided that, okay, emotions are dangerous, so we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what happened in that universe, because even though our Spock is playing right down the middle, logical, he seems like he doesn't get angry and stuff. When he uses that Vulcan as a threat, it's like, why is that a threat? Are the Vulcans scary in this universe? Are they like
the proper deep gangsters? Are they like the SS?
Who knows, right?
I mean?
Like, it's really interesting. Are they like upper echelon of the Empire?
Do the Terran Empire use them as like the guard dogs, or the
exactly
the real nasty bastards, or whatever?
It's a wonderful bit of writing, right? Because you can almost say like, oh, it's a throwaway line that you haven't got to put any backstory in, but actually it's making us think about, wow, what is this universe like? What is going on? It's great. I love it. So we don't know.
It's interesting that sort of stuff. I don't believe is explored in the other era.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's
no, but it could be, couldn't it? It could, but yeah, it's kind of, it's all about humans, isn't it? The mirror universe stuff, pretty much.
Well, yeah, it's become that. I think it's a good point. Actually, we should mention this. I've called them the Terran Empire multiple times. That is a name that gets coined in DS9. They don't use the words Terran Empire in this episode. They use just the Empire. No, they just call themselves the Empire, right? I'm pretty sure.
Sworn I had the words Terran
They might
Empire.
have done. If they do, then fair enough. But in later episodes where they're definitely the Terran Empire, they are speciest. It's humans or bust. They don't.
So the Vulcans wouldn't be,
Yeah, so they become that, right? And that could be because of what Spock does.
Spock does, yes, that's a good point.
So
now I'm pretty sure there's definitely references to the Terran Empire in this episode. I'm sure I heard those words a few times. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, but I know at least later on that they only, it's human or not. So that could be a thing because of the bearded Spock.
Right. Okay. I did enjoy this episode a lot. I put it towards the top tier of Star Trek episodes, original series episodes. Unfortunately, there's so many good ones in the original series that it's really hard to even talk about top tier, frankly. But,
Agreed. It's very difficult.
This is a very memorable one. So you can probably mention Mirror Mirror to any Star Trek fan, and they know exactly what you're talking about.
You do about
Bearded Spock, and everyone knows Bearded Spock, right? So there is that.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, shall we kind of wind up? What do you think?
I think so, man. Yeah, I think I picked this episode because I wanted to talk about it because I think the Mirror of the Universe is worth talking about. I was initially going to pick a more fun episode with maybe Harry Mudd in it, which is one of my favorite TOS.
No, man. I think this is pretty fun.
It's a great episode. I enjoyed talking about it for sure.
But like I said in an earlier episode, a lot of original series is just fun. They're just fun. It's that second half of the '60s vibe, colourful, fun, fairly lightweight. Occasionally going into quite serious stuff. This verges into that a little. There's other episodes more serious than this, but there's always a through line of fun somewhere.
Yeah,
in the
and
original
like
series Star Trek.
the other thing about it is that like there's some episodes. I know some people won't watch it because it's so old, and there are some episodes where you cringe and you go, "Oh, it's just kind of dated now."
Yeah.
But generally speaking, they hold up really well, and the sci-fi concepts especially hold up really well.
Yeah, they do. They do hold up well. Yeah.
It really, you can really see the hole that current writing in sci-fi has when you look at some of the stuff, and you're like, it's basic, man. It's straightforward, but it's good.
Yeah.
And it's
there's always interesting stuff going on. Yeah. Okay, let's wind up there. So to all our listeners, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.